Huzzah and good day, my wonderful students. Today we learn about Japan and the Pacific after World War II. Now, the occupation of Japan. After Japan was defeated in the Second World War, the United States left military forces there to occupy it. And General Douglas MacArthur was the supreme commander of Allied forces in Japan. He oversaw the adoption of a new constitution of Japan. A parliament was set up there, and all adults, including women, had the right to vote. Japan was demilitarized. Its military was greatly shrunken. Now, Japan, just like West Germany, their economies recovered very quickly after the end of the Second World War. Without its colonies, Japan turned to exporting high-quality electronics to the rest of the world. Protectionism. The Japanese government made policies designed to protect their industries, such as quotas, not allowing large amounts of foreign goods to be exported or into Japan, and also tariffs, which would make it more difficult for people to sell goods in Japan. They did this to protect their industries, and of course it made it difficult for the U.S. to sell goods there. This created a trade imbalance and raised tensions between the U.S. and Japan. Many people in the U.S. were rather upset that we were buying large amounts of goods from Japan, but they were not buying large amounts of goods for us, so large amounts of American money were flowing into Japan and out of the United States. Now, the new constitution limited the size of the Japanese military. As the Cold War went on, however, the U.S. wanted Japan to build its military to help the U.S. in the Cold War. The Japanese built a small, efficient self-defense force, but they used most of their resources to boost their productivity and their economy instead. North Korea. Now, Korea remained divided after the Korean War between communist North Korea, and they have nuclear weapons, and its leader Kim Jong-un has been confrontational with the West. North Korea is very underdeveloped. And now, this is a map of Korea at night. Now, here you see the island of Japan. You can see large amounts of lights. These are the lights from the cities, as you can see. And here's China. And this part is South Korea. And this is not an island. This is not an island. This is a peninsula. This area with very few lights is North Korea. This, I think, is really effective at showing how underdeveloped they are compared to their neighbors. If they were more developed, they would have more cities and thus more lights. In June 2018, a summit was held between North Korea and the United States. In exchange for ending economic sanctions, North Korea agreed to denuclearize. But no other actual progress has been made on that. Not really sure if they've done anything towards denuclearization. South Korea slowly developed along capitalist lines, improving its economy. South Korea became a democracy in the 1990s. Obviously, this is a picture of a South Korean city. And, well, here's the thing. Basic economic facts about South Korea and North Korea from 2000 to 2007. Gross domestic product. This is the value of everything a country makes in an entire year. So imagine all the houses built, all the cars manufactured, all the pizzas made, all the restaurants, everything that's made, put together. South Korea made $957.1 billion worth of stuff per year. North Korea, $2.2 billion worth of stuff. That's it. Recognizing that they both started off at approximately the same level after the Korean War in 1953, and here we are in modern times, this is the difference in a tightly controlled communist country versus a capitalist country. The growth rate, how much higher this grows every year. 5% for South Korea, negative 1.1% for North Korea at this time. The economy was shrinking. GDP per capita. Now this means per person. So if you took the amount of money they make and divide it by the number of people they have, each person in South Korea every year kind of gets 24,800. That means this is how much per person, not that they make in money, but per person that the country produces $24,800 worth of stuff per person per year. In North Korea, it's only $1,900 per person per year. You can take a look here. Composition by sector, agriculture, North Korea. There's a lot more agriculture in North Korea than South Korea as far as the amount of money, value that's made. There's a lot less in terms of services. This is the two economies. And you can see here where they start off in similar spots, and it's really in the 70s that North Korea starts to really take off. And South Korea hits a flat line and never really goes much further. This is per capita, again, per person. Taiwan. Now, Chiang Kai-shek and his followers had set up a government in the island of Taiwan. This was, of course, after they had fled from China during the Chinese Civil War. They built a modern industrialized society, and they allowed free elections in 2002. China insists that Taiwan must be reunited to mainland China. The United States supports self-determination for Taiwan, allowing Taiwan to decide for itself. This creates tensions between the U.S. and China over this situation. Hong Kong had been ruled by the British for 150 years after they'd basically gotten control of it during the Opium War. In that time, Hong Kong became a modern industrial power. In 1997, following the precepts of the treaty, Hong Kong was returned to Chinese control. The Chinese government allows Hong Kong greater political and economic freedom than the rest of China, in part because Hong Kong had been used to being under British control, and the fact that Hong Kong brings in quite a bit of money. Singapore had also been a British colony for a number of years. It was once part of Malaysia, but is now an independent state, and it is also a modern industrial state with a vibrant economy. Australia and New Zealand. Now, both are culturally and economically closer to Europe than they are to Asia. This is a result of the Europeans colonizing and settling those regions. They are modern industrialized states and have military alliances with the United States. Immigration and trade with East Asia, where China is, however, is increasing, and so there is a greater influence there than in some other parts of the Western world. And that is the end of this slideshow.